finally, we can now see that Ryan was panicked in general about him being apart from Blake Lively, so much so that when they first communicated with one another,
Justin says that Blake was determined to make him the real-life villain in her story.
Defendant Blake Lively has unequivocally left them with no choice, not only to set the record straight in response to Lively's accusations, but also to put the spotlight.
Lively's complaint accuses Baldoni, who is also the film's director, of creating a hostile work environment and trying to ruin her reputation.
I can also tell you personally, back when I was an intern at Glamour magazine, working under an editor, she said the most difficult person that she has ever worked with and the rudest person that she had ever worked with was Blake Lively.
Something isn't right between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. For years, these two have been known as Hollywood's most entertaining duo, a bromance filled with playful banter, viral pranks, and a lighthearted fake feud that fans adored. But lately, the dynamic has shifted in ways that no one expected. It all began when whispers of tension started circulating on social media. Fans noticed that the familiar back and forth between Ryan and Hugh had grown strangely subdued. The witty jabs, the friendly roasts, they were now replaced with silence and cryptic remarks. Suddenly, what used to be a carefree exchange of humor started to look like a serious rift was forming behind the scenes. At first, many dismissed these signs as nothing more than the natural ebb and flow of busy Hollywood schedules. After all, both actors are involved in multiple projects and have demanding careers. But soon, the clues began to stack up, leading to a disturbing question. Could Ryan Reynolds be betraying his longtime friend Hugh Jackman? In one particularly telling moment, during an interview that once would have been filled with playful banter, Hugh's tone turned unexpectedly somber. He remarked, "I've learned a lot about Hollywood friendships over the years. Some are real, some not so much." While he never named names, the subtext was clear. To many fans, that was the moment they started wondering if Ryan's loyalty had faltered. The shock isn't just in the change of tone, though. It's in the sequence of events that followed, a series of actions that appear to hint at a much deeper betrayal. Rumors are now swirling that Ryan has not only distanced himself from Hugh, but has also made strategic moves that seem designed to boost his own career at the expense of their shared legacy.
And I'm really excited, but as I've gotten a little bit older, I sort of want to. Really, I'm lucky that I get to work in this industry, and particularly incredibly fortunate that I get to work in it this long. But I really want to work with people that are either immensely talented or people that I love and that I'm genuinely best friends with. And unfortunately, Hugh does not qualify as either of those. But I am excited because I'm a Logan fan. So and then that covers Will Ferrell as well. That's a guy that my entire life, I feel.
To understand the gravity of what might be happening now, it's important to recall what made Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds such a beloved pair in the first place. Their friendship was more than just good-natured teasing. It was a genuine bond forged in the fires of Hollywood's unpredictable landscape. Back when Ryan was fighting tooth and nail to get Deadpool off the ground, a project that many considered too risky or too unconventional, Hugh was one of the few who stood by him. Despite the fact that Wolverine and Deadpool are iconic adversaries in the comic book world, Hugh's support for Ryan's vision never wavered. He played along with the jokes, even when it meant poking fun at his own legacy as Wolverine, all to help propel Deadpool into the spotlight. Their camaraderie wasn't just for show. It represented a true merging of creative minds, two actors who, despite their differences, understood the art of performance and the power of humor. Their on-screen and off-screen interactions became a highlight for fans, symbolizing the very best of Hollywood's collaborative spirit. But somewhere along the line, that camaraderie seems to have turned into something far less wholesome. Recent developments have painted a picture of a relationship that might be unraveling. A friendship that once stood as a beacon of mutual respect and support now appears to be marred by ambition and betrayal.
Well, there's real spectacle-driven wish fulfillment. Something I love about 80s Amblin movies like E.T. and Back to the Future, or even Stand By Me, those kinds of movies that are steeped in nostalgia for us. And this is the fourth movie that I've properly produced, Deadpool 1 and 2, Free Guy, and now Adam Project. The latter two I was lucky enough to make with my friend Sean Levy. Both of which were engineered to audience delight.
The first hints of trouble emerged subtly. Fans, who had grown accustomed to the constant stream of playful interactions between Ryan and Hugh, noticed a significant change in their online presence. Posts that once featured lighthearted jabs and friendly banter were replaced with silence. When Ryan made headlines for his business ventures or his latest film projects, Hugh's name was conspicuously absent. Interviews that used to showcase their effortless rapport now felt tense. In one such interview, instead of the usual camaraderie, Hugh's carefully chosen words left many wondering if he was trying to send a veiled message about his true feelings toward Ryan's recent behavior. There's been a change in the way some friendships work in this industry, he mused, a comment that resonated deeply with those who had followed their story for years. Adding to the mystery was the noticeable absence of their usual public appearances together. For a duo that once graced red carpets and blockbuster movie premieres side by side, recent events have shown them appearing separately. Ryan has been spotted at major events and promotional gigs, but always without Hugh by his side, a stark contrast to their previously inseparable image. All these early signs pointed to a shift in their relationship, leaving fans to wonder, what could have triggered such a dramatic change? Was it simply a matter of diverging career paths, or was something more personal at play?
I would say that they're more surprises because they have beginnings, middles, and ends. They're not like, it's not just like a, hey, there's the person and we move on. It's they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said it just earlier, but I wanted to go back on that. You think that this might be the greatest film that you've...
I mean, look, most of the time when the movie is this much fun to make,
For years, Ryan Reynolds begged Hugh Jackman to return as Wolverine. It became a running joke, Ryan constantly trolling Hugh online, pushing for his return, and even throwing in references in the Deadpool films. And then it finally happened. In 2022, Hugh shocked everyone when he announced his return as Wolverine for Deadpool 3. Fans were ecstatic. After his emotional farewell in Logan, nobody thought Hugh would ever put on the claws again. But here he was, standing alongside Ryan, promising a Wolverine Deadpool crossover that fans had been waiting for. But behind the excitement, something didn't sit right. Hollywood insiders started whispering that Hugh's role in Deadpool 3 wasn't as big as people thought. At first, it seemed like he was going to be a major part of the movie. But then, reports surfaced that his screen time had been significantly reduced. Why? Because Deadpool 3 wasn't about Wolverine. It was about Ryan Reynolds. Sources claim that Ryan wanted Hugh in the movie for one reason: marketing. His return generated instant hype, but once the buzz settled, Ryan took control of the film's direction. Here's what's been rumored. Ryan made major script changes that impacted Hugh's role. Hugh reportedly had little say in Wolverine's portrayal. Certain action sequences were rewritten, making Deadpool the main focus. If this is true, then Hugh Jackman wasn't brought back because Ryan truly wanted to share the screen with him. He was brought back because his name would sell tickets. And if Hugh started realizing that, it would explain everything. His sudden lack of enthusiasm about Deadpool 3, his cryptic interviews about Hollywood friendships, the way he's been distancing himself from Ryan. If Hugh feels like he was used, like his return was just a business move instead of a creative decision, then this might be the breaking point of their friendship.
I've been doing this job a long time, and when you go on these international tours, you're like, you start to say, what's the weirdest show we can do? And at the time, this was before The Masked Singer was in the US. So it's like they have this show called The Masked Singer, which is huge, and Seth goes, Lori, we're doing that show. We have to go do that show.
While all of this was happening, Ryan Reynolds was expanding his empire like never before. Ryan is no longer just an actor. He's a businessman, a producer, a brand mogul. Over the last few years, he's sold Mint Mobile for $1.35 billion, expanded Aviation Gin into a massive global brand, bought a football club, Wrexham FC, and turned it into a Hollywood-backed success story, signed huge solo production deals, giving him more power in Hollywood than ever before. But here's the interesting part. Where does Hugh Jackman fit into all of this? For years, Ryan and Hugh's Hollywood careers were intertwined. Fans assumed that as Ryan grew his brand, Hugh would be part of it. Maybe they'd co-produce films, maybe Hugh would appear in Ryan's ventures, but instead, Hugh has been left out completely. Ryan's production company? No Hugh. Ryan's business ventures? No Hugh. Ryan's media deals? Still no Hugh. And while Ryan's career is skyrocketing, Hugh has been noticeably quiet. No big business deals, no major industry moves. It's almost as if he's been left behind. And if Hugh started realizing that Ryan was moving forward without him, that their so-called bromance was just another Hollywood act, then that could be the final betrayal. Because Hugh didn't just support Ryan as a friend. He stood by him when Deadpool was struggling to get made. He played along with all the jokes. He helped Ryan build his brand. But now, it looks like Ryan Reynolds is moving forward, and Hugh isn't part of the picture anymore.
Yeah. My relationship with my father, which was very complicated and difficult. My dad was a very, I come from a middle class, kind of blue-collar home, and my dad was just of that generation, where it's just like, he was Clint Eastwood, less is more. Simple grunts is how he communicated.
Okay, gotcha.
I think people tell themselves stories, and this sort of comes back to your worldview that you just mentioned about.
Lately, Hugh Jackman's interviews have been different. He's not openly attacking Ryan, but if you listen carefully, there's a shift in his tone. Take this interview, for example. Instead of hyping up Deadpool 3, he said, "I've learned a lot about Hollywood friendships over the years. Some are real, some not so much." That one sentence sent fans into a frenzy, because if this was about Ryan Reynolds, that changes everything. For years, fans believed their friendship was genuine, but now people are starting to question it. Was Hugh just a pawn in Ryan's game? Did Ryan use their bromance to boost his career, only to move on when he didn't need Hugh anymore? If Hugh really feels betrayed, then their friendship might already be beyond repair. And with Deadpool 3 still in production, things could get even worse. Hollywood friendships fall apart all the time, especially when business, money, and power get in the way. We've seen it happen before. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire were inseparable in the early 2000s, but as their careers evolved, they drifted apart. Kanye West and Jay-Z, once brothers in music, had a falling out over business and trust. The Rock and Vin Diesel, what started as a friendly on-set rivalry, turned into a full-blown feud over control and ego. Could Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman be next? Because if Ryan really did use Hugh for marketing, and if he's actively pushing forward without him, then we might be watching their friendship crumble in real time. And if Deadpool 3 is where all of this came to a head, then this movie might not just be their last time working together. It might be the final straw that breaks their friendship for good. Here's what we need to watch for. If Hugh keeps avoiding questions about Ryan, that's a bad sign. If Hugh stops promoting Deadpool 3 entirely, that's even worse. And if Ryan suddenly starts talking about Hugh in the past tense, as if their friendship was just a fun era in his life, then that might be the final confirmation that it's over. The next few months are going to be crucial. If this friendship is real, we'll probably see some kind of public reunion, maybe a social media post, maybe an interview where they clear things up. But if that doesn't happen, if the distance keeps growing, then we might have our answer. This wasn't just a Hollywood friendship. This was business. And once business gets in the way, there's no going back.
Well, that is also accurate and weirdly high praise as well. It was just one of those. It felt like a live-action Pixar movie. It was something that, I wanted to do something where nobody was being stabbed in the face.
Yes.
There was almost no blood at all. I think I got a little paper cut on the movie. That was about it. And something that my kids can watch, but also as a parent, too, you want the parents need to get punched right in the heart as well.
So here's the big question. What happens now? If Ryan and Hugh's friendship is really falling apart, does that mean they'll stop working together entirely? Because let's be honest, Deadpool 3 is a massive film. It's not just another superhero movie. It's a franchise-defining event. It's bringing Wolverine into the MCU. It's merging timelines. It's setting the stage for future crossovers. But if there's real tension between Ryan and Hugh, how's that going to impact the movie? Because we've seen this before. When actors don't get along behind the scenes, it always affects the final product. Look at The Rock and Vin Diesel. Their feud was so bad that they refused to film scenes together in Fast and Furious. Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall, their personal issues ruined any chance of a Sex and the City reunion. Andrew Garfield and Sony, backstage conflicts led to the cancellation of The Amazing Spider-Man 3. If Ryan and Hugh aren't on the same page, that could mean script rewrites, awkward press tours, and even last-minute changes to the film. Because if they're not having fun anymore, then fans will notice. And if this really is their last time working together, then it's going to make Deadpool 3 one of the most controversial superhero movies in years. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds had one of the best Hollywood bromance. They were funny, entertaining, and seemed to genuinely support each other. But now, something isn't right. Between the Deadpool 3 controversy, the business moves that left Hugh behind, and Hugh's cryptic interviews, it's starting to look like their friendship might not have been as real as we thought. So what do you think? Is Hugh finally realizing that Ryan used their friendship for career gain? Or is this just another Hollywood rumor blown out of proportion? Will they patch things up? Or is this the end of Hollywood's funniest friendship? One thing's for sure, something has changed. And if this really is the beginning of the end, then Deadpool 3 just became a lot more interesting. Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you stayed till the end, comment Deadpool 3. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to me, and ring the bell so you will be first to know about newest drama.